What did they say? What did they do to get him to come back? All right, my man. So there's a few things we want to talk about when it comes to the University of Utah. The first one is, before we get into that, we want to do a DNA tip of the cap to the University of Utah Red Rocks. They were actually, they won the Big 12. So they won their conference when it comes to gymnastics, and they made it to the regional finals, which is in a year where this squad wasn't really ranked as high as it normally is for them. They're usually typically top ranked in the country. For them to not only win the conference but make it to the regional finals is kind of a big deal.
Did you see they did not make the national finals for the first time in 49 years?
Yes. Yes, that's true. But
they did win the conference.
Again, in a year where they haven't really been ranked at all the whole year.
Yeah.
You know, so the fact that they still went out there and
in a down year. Absolutely.
A down year, they still got a conference title. You know, yeah, you want to hang your hat. You want to keep that streak going, but you know, as we'll talk later in MLB, not every streak lasts forever. So
not every streak.
But anyway, so congrats to the Red Rocks there on a great season. And yeah, we look forward to return to form next year for sure. Now, when it comes to what we want to talk about when it comes to the Utes, is the first thing we want to talk about is the article that we saw out there that talked about Coach Scally and how he's able to retain their star quarterback in Devon Dampier with Coach Witt and his OC of the past 2 seasons, Jason Beck, both bouncing and going to Michigan. Their entire offensive coaching staff went to Michigan, if I'm correct. I don't think anybody stayed.
No, I mean there were some coaches that stayed, but for the most part, I mean it was a lot of them.
It was a lot of them. Yeah, to have Devon Dampier say that there was a specific gesture that the team made that was huge for him. So the story goes in the article here that on his return back from surgery from Philly, repairing a sports hernia. Did you know he had a sports hernia?
I did not until I read this article.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy. Like,
yeah.
I knew he was a little banged up towards the end of the year, but I didn't know of any specific injury that required surgery.
Yeah.
That was news to me. So when Devon Dampier emerged from the plane in January, coming back to Salt Lake, he was surprised to see every member of the Utah coaching staff at the airport. He said when he came back from surgery, I couldn't walk. Dampier told the Salt Lake Tribune, I couldn't really make the first rounds of meetings with the coach Morgan Scally. Scally put in a huge effort with me and made the one-on-one conversation with me. Dampier said, I think that we really got to learn from each other, and I was able to learn things about him that I never knew. He was able to hear things about me that he didn't know about me as well. I think that the real heart-to-heart conversation, what he wanted out of me and shared his beliefs in me, the loyalty there sealed the deal for me. I know the day after we had that conversation. That's huge, man. You absolutely love to see that. Not only just simply the gesture of making sure the entire coaching staff is there when you get off the plane, but just being willing to have those one-on-one conversations with, you know, again, this guy could have easily just walked over to Michigan with the rest of, you know, with his OC that he's been working with.
He had an offer.
Oh, yeah. You know he could have gone over there.
Yeah.
But the fact that he stayed, I don't know if Utah outspent Michigan for him.
Unlikely.
But, yeah. So the fact that there's a lot more than just the paycheck is pretty impressive for this kid.
Yeah, I mean, I really love that Morgan Scally just kind of continues to show up, him and his coaching staff, to just show up for their players, right? I mean, it just shows that this coaching staff is just class act. I mean, he's making these players believe in themselves first, making sure they know how important they are to the University of Utah. And by doing that, he's making them believe in him. And that's like the second hand, right? Like that's the best part of it is like he tells them how he believes in them. And by doing that, they believe back in him. So it's really awesome to see. And I mean, that's exactly how it should be. Like realistically, I mean, you can coach all you want, but you can't go out on the field and make players win games. Yeah. You have to make sure that these guys believe in themselves, believe in what you're preaching day in and day out. And he's coaching to get the most out of these players. And him knowing that Devon Dampier returning to the U, that steadies a ship that was, let's be honest, starting to rock just a little bit, right? That was priority number one, was to get Devon Dampier back. Mm-hmm. And he didn't have to do it in a deep conversation. He did it with an action to show up and make sure that he was seen and he was comfortable. And when he got back, that he knew that he was priority number one for Utah. That's got to mean a lot to Devon as a quarterback. I mean, I know as a Utes fan, like when you heard Devon was staying, that helped the nerves quite a bit, right? I mean, you saw a lot of stuff happening that you weren't sure which direction. I mean, it was a real trying time. So it's a great. I'm really glad that Coach Scally handled it that way, very specifically. He got Devon Dampier back, and it gives this team an opportunity to grow on the great season that they already had last year.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a good year solely because of the strength of the best offensive weapons they had that they could possibly have returning.
Yeah.
In Bert Flicklin and in Devon Dampier.
Yeah,
both
absolutely.
Coming back. And then they, we'll get into this article here next when we talk about some of the improvements that we're going to see on, positions where we weren't too confident in the next bit here. But yeah, this is the type of story that you love to see because you read this and the whole time you're thinking before he agreed, like, what did they say? What did they do to get him to come back?
Yeah.
And is this a repeatable thing that Utah can do to make sure they don't lose talent
in
this year where it's very much in this type of football where it's very much transactional now?
Yeah.
And so when it's something like this, where it's something that's repeatable, it's not just who wrote the biggest check. It's not just, hey, it's your old OC from back in the day. We're going to keep you happy.
Yeah. It's who was there for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely.
It's actually loyalty to the team that's taking care of you and giving you this opportunity to come into Division I football and play at the highest level in a Power 4 conference. It says a lot about Devon Dampier as a player, and I think even a little bit more about Morgan Scally and knowing that he's the new face of this program and what he can do to keep it moving forward.
You love it. You love it. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below when it comes to this story. Did you get a chance to read the full story there on the Trib? Give us your feedback. Let us know what you thought in regards to that. The next thing we want to get into is, there's this article on sportsillustrated.com. This one was from Cole Forsman. He had an article up where he was discussing, now that we're over the hump, and there's probably about like 10 days left in spring ball practice.
Yeah.
The 5 weeks, we're over the 3, right? What we've learned so far from spring football here at University of Utah.
Yeah.
And we'd like to go over that and kind of just give our thoughts on the 3 main things that they put in there. And you guys feel free to chime in. Let us know what your thoughts are. What did you hear in regards to coming out of spring practice there? What are the 3 things, or is there anything specific that you heard that you want to dive in on? We'd love to hear from you on that. So you want to get into this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So the first one's going to be the O-line is exceeding expectation. So Utah did lose all of its 5 starters at this position last season, either to the NFL or to graduation. And the first-year O-line coach, which is Jordan Gross, has been seeing improvements and getting this group really ready for the 2026 season. What's your thoughts on this, man? Are you seeing? I don't know. What's your takeaway from the fact that they're just reloading at that position?
Yeah, I mean, I just have a really weird feeling that this offensive line, they have such big shoes to fill. I mean, because we had such a great offensive line last year. There was a ton of experience. I mean, 2 round 1 draft picks on there. But I just have a really weird feeling that this O-line specifically is going to far exceed expectations. I mean, the coaches are already saying they're exceeding, expectations for where we're at in this season. I think when the season comes around, I think this is going to be a fantastic offensive line unit. There's been quite a bit of talk about Cedric Jefferson. He's the Montana State transfer. He's really excelling. I mean, we got to believe that Kelvin Obot, he's going to be out there on the field helping this unit. And really, I think the thing that probably gives me the most confidence is we got to remember that Utah's known for one thing, and that's a defensive line. Utah is a great defensive line coach, a great defensive line team. And this defensive line didn't lose as many pieces.
Right.
So we got these young or inexperienced offensive line guys coming in, and they get to play against a Utah defensive line every single day that is going to push them to their limits. And that is going to help them going head to head against great players that have a ton of reps. Iron sharpens iron, man. And I think it'll help get these guys up to speed a little bit faster. And I think, again, far exceed expectations I think everyone's kind of reeling it back. I'm all for that, but I think at the same time, I think this could be a really good unit for the Utes moving forward.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I think I'm going to use the quote that Scally has on here. He's like, Jordan is such a good teacher with those guys, and they're having a lot of fun. You're seeing the progress at every single position, every single practice. That kind of statement there from your head coach. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this, you guys, you're going to be taking tongue in cheek, just simply because the chances for them to unenroll, we talked about last time, is how even though there's not a spring portal anymore, there still is a chance for these players to leave your program.
Absolutely.
So you want to say the right things about these guys to keep them here and keep them happy. But this is a lot of conversation that's coming out simply because of this reason, and because of it, it doesn't sound like fluff to me. It's kind of like every recruiting season, like, oh, we got all the players we wanted. No one's going to come into that press conference saying, man, we really missed on the 5 guys we wanted, but we got these other 5. I guess we'll do all right. No one's going to say that.
Yeah, we didn't get all of the guys we wanted, but I mean, it'll be fine. We'll coach them as good as we can. It'll be okay.
Yeah, so some of this is going to be conference talk, press conference talk, just to keep your guys. But I don't know. I think there's enough of the conversation there that I've heard through interviews and with the media that have been able to see practice that would say this. There's a lot of truth to this one.
Yeah.
Secondly, Daniel Bray is due to make his big leap in his sophomore season. Singling a player out as one of the big 3 reasons, that big 3 takeaways from spring camp so far, says a lot. This kid did show some talent in 2025, and they are expecting more out of him this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. And I love that Coach Scally has not talked about him in 1 or 2 interviews. It's almost every time he's in front of a microphone, he's talking about how good Daniel Bray has been. I mean, he's saying how he's gotten his body ready, how he plays with intensity. He's been setting blocks up the field. And I mean, he's just bought into the culture. And this kid's talented. I mean, we saw him take a couple runs, break him off for some great yardage. He's really fun to watch. And he was a player that I really thought we would see more of last year, because he kept having these breakout plays, and, they threw some wheel routes to him, and it was like, I feel like this guy's he's got the talent. Like, why aren't we using him? But at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm good with it, and especially if he did need, I mean, coaches see a lot of stuff that we don't see as fans. Maybe his body did need a little bit of work. He wasn't quite big enough. As a running back for the U, you've got to be able to run block, pass block. When you're back there, there's going to be a lot of schemes where you're going to need to be able to set a block and go into the flat and catch a pass. And we know that Wayshawn Parker can do those things. Mm-hmm. So it kind of minimizes how much you need a small, fast running back. But I think that with how much he has improved, it'll be really cool to see how he's paired with Wayshawn Parker, and if they can even make the whole offense that much better, to have that skilled and quick and, explosive type player out there with this offense.
Yeah. Comments from McGivern on Bray here. He said he's one I'd love to expand his role so you can see what he really can do. He's a really dynamic player. Kind of speaking to what you're talking about there's obviously some reason for why they held him back, probably just to prevent risk of injury, I'm guessing.
Could be,
like you said, maybe his body wasn't ready for it, but I'm looking forward to it, man. This one's going to be pretty good. I'm looking forward to seeing that progression. If he came into spring, what was it, 20 pounds heavier? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I think it was like 20 pounds heavier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, love to see it, man. Looking forward to it. The next one we have here on this article is the Utah State transfer, Braden Pagan, who has made his presence known pretty well on this squad coming in. So, I don't know. What's your take on this kid?
Yeah, I mean, he was just voted to the Leadership Council, which says a lot about a player just transferring in. And we knew that this addition would kind of help the team learn the offense from a player's perspective, right? Like, you're going to do everything you can as a coach to help install an offense. I mean, I've read multiple things that Kevin McGivern has worked really closely with Devon Dampier to try to change some of the the terminology they're using to make it a little bit more familiar. Mm-hmm. Similar concepts, changing the terminology on the field so that everything's not so brand new and so daunting, which is a really cool thing. But then to hear that you have a player out there, and he was in one of his interviews, he says that he was willing to help players that have questions. He's like, if anybody has questions, I hope they come ask me, because I'm willing to help with whatever I can. Like, that was like kind of what he was saying. And That is exactly what you look for in a senior wide receiver that, is wrapping his career up. The Utes have gotten so lucky pulling in culture guys that are just brought in and just buy in immediately and help promote it and push it forward. There's a ton of really good highlight catches that Braden Pegan's already pulled down, and you're just hoping he just keeps building that chemistry with Devon Dampier and continues to kind of flourish in this system. I think McGivern's comfortable with him, so he's gonna count on a lot of targets that direction, and hopefully they can pull it all together when it matters.
Yeah, I really like one of the comments here that they had for him there. Again, Scally said on Pegan there, this is one of the dudes that you wish you had 20 of them. He's such a good kid, smart football player, athletic, can jump out of the gym. We're so excited to have him. And I think, to your point, being a senior, yeah, that probably helps a lot. But just to kind of come into a new locker room, into a, Power 4 conference and have that kind of presence and willing to take on that leadership role, when it could easily just be, like, hey, I'm going to take a step back here. There's obviously more talented players on this team than me. Like, I'm going to just take a step back. He's not doing that, man. He's, taking on the leadership role. And like you mentioned, on the leadership council, first year transfer in, which is insane. I love it. It. We also have another comment here. We have a comment here from McKinley Cutler. He said, so I don't know. So I know that there is technically a new rule now that is supposed to stop the tampering of players so they can't unenroll and then re-enroll to extend the transfer portal. Do you think this will do anything? I don't think so.
He has another comment. He kind of continues it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love this term. McKinley. Or is it just a paper tiger rule that will fall apart when the first player / coach takes the NCC to court and sues them for trying to say the students can't decide which school they can enroll in? Yeah, I heard this. Did you hear about this rule?
I did, and I think they're trying. They're trying to get a handle on all of this, right? Because everyone understands that the system in college football is broken. Like, you have to have some, especially with how much money is going out, you feel like there needs to be some sort of contracts or something tying anything to somebody, because realistically you're a free agent at the beginning and end of every year, which professionals can't do that. And you guys are getting paid to play now. So I think this rule is trying to accomplish the right thing. I don't know if this was the best way to do it, but I'm excited to see what they come up with next. Hopefully they can kind of build off this and make sure that players, aren't just unenrolling and re-enrolling, because we all know what that's doing to college football.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to really do much. Like you said, I love the term paper tiger because I think that's exactly what it looks like. I just don't know. There's just too much involved in it, and there's just too much money involved in it. And once money gets involved, it's really kind of tough for anything to really get in the way, even when it comes to things like rules or executive orders, or anything like that. So it's just kind of one of the
very
things,
limited.
Yes, you know, it's technically not federal law, so that's kind of where that one's going to be kind of. I think that's a good place where we could put that one. Is that I think you're right. I think first time somebody challenges this in court, I don't think they're going to win.
Right.
So I think the players should be allowed to go wherever they want, whenever they want, just like the coaches.
Yeah.
Until you hold the coaches accountable, you can't hold the players accountable.
Exactly.
You even the playing field now. Okay, great. Now what? You got to try and scale that back. Just that genie's out of the bag.
Well,
man.
but at the professional levels, though, if a coach gets fired, he can take another job. But
when you're firing,
you don't see professional coaches just switching so much, right? You go onto a 4-year contract. Coaches get traded. Their contracts get traded and that kind of stuff in the NFL. But something like that has to happen. To your point, right? Yeah. Like something has to happen where if a coach is under contract and a player agrees to play with that coach while he's under contract and he gets traded or moved or decides to go, I agree that that player should have the option to go with that coach. That's who recruited them. That's who they want to play for.
Or simply leave that school altogether.
Exactly.
And explore a new option.
Yeah.
I think even not just even the head coach, could be the offensive or defensive coordinator, whoever whoever the position coach.
And I think you have to limit that to at some degree.
At that point, right there.
Yeah. Head
Anything
coach
below that,
OCDC. Yeah.
Coordinator. But other than that, we get like to the quarterback's coach or the lines coach, or
you're like, I really wanted to play for this offensive analyst.
Yeah, this
makes $20,000 a year.
Exactly.
Like,
this college intern.
Yeah.
Now that he's graduated, I want to go. Michigan's offering me $10 million a year. I'm going to go there instead.
Really feel like we got a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I love it, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for jumping into the chat there, McKinley.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. I love this story there of the three things. We'll probably have like another week and a half left of spring camp, so we'll see what happens for the last little bit here.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We'll probably have some more stories that come out in the next week that we'd love to talk about. So if you guys have anything that you'd like for us to talk about in an upcoming episode, feel free to jump in the comments. Let us know if you hear a story that you want us to cover. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think.
And obviously we like giving our opinions, so you guys let us know what you want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.